This evening, I figured I'd give a little garden update. I hadn't given one in a while, and just show y'all what's been going on here. As far as the flowers go, my cannas are doing really well. So are my petunias here. See the cannas, they've been blooming. You can see this. This is a blueberry sparkle. It already bloomed once. I had this. This one here is one my mom gave me. I'm not sure what species it is, a canna, but it's blooming. This is like a Tropicana, and it has some nice pretty orange blooms. It's already bloomed. It's about to getting ready to bloom again. It's another one of those ones that my mom gave me. Here's another Tropicana over here, and this is a hybrid. I can't wait for it to bloom. But the herbs, they're just growing like wild. And then there's the basil. It's really getting nice and bushy. I've been clipping all the blossoms off. This is a basil flower I had here, or plant. Stepmom gave me this. I'm trying to transplant. We'll see what happens with it, okay? Let's look over here. We've got our those lilies I had at one point earlier in the season. Of course, they're done blooming, just laying there dormant. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll be back next year. Just kind of pan over this way. We've got those little tropicals, just a little experiment I was doing over here. Basically, they're not really doing much, kind of dying off with the heat. Banana plants are doing really well. There's the one there from last year. See, it's really sprouting back. There's a nice little elephant ear. Here's a Goldfinger banana. I mean, this one is really taking off. It is doing really well. If you'll notice, I think it's put off a nice little pup down here. Now, this is a pup, and if you'll see how it has the grass-like blade leaves, and it's separated from the main plant. That's a nice pup. You can use that you can put a shovel between the two, dig that one up, and make another plant. Now, there's a different kind of thing going on over here. This one's had what I call suckers. I've been cutting them off. Can't really see. I just cut those off, but the suckers grow. They actually grow. There's one where I cut off. They grow out of the comb, right directly out of the bottom of the parent plant, and they don't do it any good. They don't have root systems. All they do is suck the energy and the water from the parent plant, and you just got to cut those back. But the ones like this over here, where you see that it's not really connected to the plant except for underground somewhere, it has its independent roots. It has those slender-like leaves. That'll be one you can use to procreate the plant. Look at this. These are my Mississippi purple hull peas, doing wonderfully here. I mean, these things are huge. Look at the peas it's putting out here. Oh, wow. I mean, I just can't wait. These are the same plants that I did the disease video on not too long ago. I was afraid they weren't going to make it. They've done wonderfully. I mean, they have really sprouted up. I've got my ice cream bananas. These are the banana, little tiny plants that I got from Florida Hill Nursery. I planted. They're coming up nicely. That one in the middle of them is really doing well. I've got one of my elephant ears over here that I planted earlier, and it's doing well. A really big plant. We'll go over to the other side. I guess I'll kind of start with the bad news pole beans. I don't know what I really did wrong this year, but they just didn't do so hot. Produced a couple of beans. Maybe they'll grow and fill out some more. They took off pretty fast, and it's just like they ran out of steam. There's one bean there. These are the Blue Lake pole beans. And I think next year what I'll do is put a big container down there at the bottom and fill it with really good compost and soil. Maybe they just ran out of nutrients or something. I don't know. You might be able to tell me. But the pole beans just kind of petered out. Even had some planted in a pot over there, and they just kind of died off. And they were doing really well at one point. I've got another elephant ear over here. This is a variety that does well in moist, low-lying areas, and it's just taking off. Interesting thing about this one, see, it's putting out these shoots out the bottom. See these little black runners or whatever above the ground? Not really sure what those are. If somebody could tell me, that'd be interesting. See, my yard guy cut a couple off today. But I'd like to know if that's it spreading, or those are roots or what they are, but there's just these long black kind of runners along the ground there. There's a good picture of a couple of them. Okay. Now let's, I'm not making you sick over here. Turn to the garden. The squash. Didn't really make it either. I think I planted the squash a little bit too tightly here. I pulled a couple of them up and we'll see what happens. Pepper plant's doing really well. This is I believe that's the Anaheim. It's doing really nicely. I've got some, this one here is a little Thai pepper. It's doing good. Peppers seem to be doing really good. Got a couple of habaneros, hadn't really put off much. Jalapenos, wow, these are ready to pick. Nice little jalapenos. There's a couple green habaneros there. I got some eggplant coming in. Really nice. Okay. I do need to do some weeding in there. Tomato plants. Let's move on. I planted these tiny little seedlings. These plants came from Burpee. They were the Brandywine hybrids, okay? They were tiny. I really didn't think I was going to get anything from them this year, but they have really hit a growth spurt and grown into their cages. I'm really interested in see once they start producing tomatoes. They got some blossoms on them. I've really kept these trimmed. I probably trimmed a little bit too much. I know they look a little bit leggy, but I just wanted to keep these tomatoes up off the ground. You'll see, compared to my other tomato plants, that these will be a lot taller and less bushy. I think I'm going to try to coax these into growing really tall. So let's go to the front now and see the other. Mention the fruit trees. The peaches, I already harvested some of them. They were just really small this year. Didn't do much, but the plums, oh my goodness. I must have harvested 30 or 40 plums this morning, and they are nice, sweet, and delicious. They've done very, very well. I've got these tomatoes over here now. This is a Parks Whopper. It's just been loaded down. You can see this one just is kind of a wild bush. It's got a few down there closer to the ground. A couple kind of turning color in there. But I have been just pulling some suckers off, but I just let these grow pretty much how they wanted to. I've got another, there's a Better Boy over here. Really putting on some tomatoes. I've had a couple I've harvested off here. First two had some blossoming rot issues, but I did spray them good down with a little treatment. In fact, I think I'll harvest me one right now. And look up, we've got blossoming rot, bad on this one. Dang it, no good. Throw that one over to the compost. But anyway, I think it's because we've had so much torrential downpour of rain here lately. Hopefully, I won't lose these beauties here. I mean, those are some nice tomatoes. And look at this guy in here. If you got any tips on what I can spray this thing down with besides just the stuff you get at the nursery mixed with the water, I put a bunch of eggshells and stuff in the soil to probably prevent that. That's my banana plant here in the front. It's doing well. This is a Goldfinger. And it's putting off a nice little pup down here. See, that's a good little pup. It's not that sucker. See how the leaves are shaped? Almost grass blade-like leaves. And this one is really growing. Inside the house, I planted a couple of these palm plants that my dad had. I'm not really sure what they are, but one of the seeds seems to germinated. See, it's coming up. It's like a ground palm type bush thing. We'll see what happens with it. We've got a couple more planted just to kind of hit or miss to see what goes on. Just planted the bulbs there like that. Now I have another elephant ear over here, and it's doing very, very well. I mean, this elephant ear, it's got some huge leaves. I think the reason it's doing so well too, it's got all this moist air. That's the dryer where it has this vent there, so this one will probably do very well even into the fall. Putting out these giant leaves. Really cool plant. Alright, well anyway, I just wanted to give you all a little update and let you see how the garden was doing.